I've been on the road, no sleep all night. Heart stacking up these beds to the sunrise. Told them I came up by the cold line. So nothing to it all, it's the glow. Told them I was down, but I rise up, ride up. Never switch lanes, I just ride up, ride up. Hit the block, then I fly off, fly off. Hello and welcome to Nye's World. Wherever you're listening from, welcome. Whether you're on your way to work, heading to the gym, cooking dinner, spending time with your family, or winding down after a long day, thank you for choosing to spend this time with me. I'm Nye, and I'm honored to welcome you into my world. Every book you hear on this channel was written by me, Nirobiey Nye Robinson, and every page was created to take you somewhere unforgettable. So get comfortable. Let your imagination take the lead. And let's turn the first page together. Chapter 4. Survival Code. Legend didn't always know how to choose herself. She was raised on rules that were never written down, rules about loyalty, survival, and silence. Her loyalty wasn't built on romance, it was carved out of struggle. Long before the streets whispered her name or the boys chased her shadow, it started in her grandmother's house, where survival was expected, not explained. What the world called strong, she called trained. Legend didn't always move like this. The silence, the sharpness, the cold comfort of not needing anyone. That came later. She was taught to survive, not to feel. Taught to take a hit and smile like nothing happened. Taught to keep secrets so well, she sometimes forgot the truth herself. Her mother wasn't the type to hug. She was the type to hand you $20 and tell you to figure it out. No bedtime stories, just bass lines through the walls and arguments that went on till sunrise. Legend learned early how to pack her emotions into invisible bags and leave them at the door. Flashback. Age 8. Legend sat on the hallway floor, knees to her chest, listening to her mother scream into a cordless phone at some man who probably wasn't her father. A vase shattered in the kitchen. Legend didn't even flinch. She was already used to the sound of broken things. Her mother stormed past in heels and silence, slamming the door so hard the frame shook. That was the night Legend figured it out. Love was unpredictable, loud, dangerous, something you endured, not embraced. By 15, she was numb, pretty but guarded, smart but detached. Girls liked her because she was cool. Boys liked her because she was cold. She wasn't chasing anything but control. But what made her unforgettable? Legend was fine. Long jet black hair that felt like spilled ink, almond-shaped eyes under mink lashes, skin like honeyed caramel kissed by the sun. Her makeup stayed flawless, like it had something to prove. Her style, street luxe. Hair laid, nails sharp, aura untouchable. She was the one other girls watched in envy and boys fumbled to approach. And she had a gift. Hair was her sanctuary. Even before she had a salon chair, she was flipping styles in her mama's kitchen. Braids, weaves, silk presses. She could make a girl feel brand new in 2 hours flat. It was her hustle, her magic, her peace. And then came Tree. Older, wild, scarred. Tree didn't ask her to open up. He demanded loyalty instead. And back then, loyalty felt safer than love. He didn't tell her how to feel. He told her how to move. A real one don't panic, he'd say, counting stacks on the table. You keep your mouth shut and play your position. That's how you survive. And she did. She ran errands, held secrets, looked the other way. Between making drug runs for Tree, she'd be back home knocking out 2 sew-ins in one night, stacking her own money on the side. Her hands stayed busy. Her hustle was clean even if her loyalty wasn't. Flashback. Age 17. Tree was bleeding in the passenger seat. Her foot pressed the gas. Her heart pressed prayers. Blue lights hid behind her before she could even think. When the cops pulled them over, she swallowed the stash without hesitation. She spent the night in holding. Didn't cry, didn't fold, didn't snitch. Tree bailed her out at sunrise. You mine for life now, he whispered, brushing her hair back. That's the type of love you don't walk away from. And part of her believed him. By 21, Legend wasn't sure who she really was anymore. just who she needed to be to make it through each day. Survival first, self later, and now, even with Kaimani in her bed and Tree in her phone, she was still running the same playbook: silence first, feelings last. Keep it cute. Keep it together. Keep it moving. She didn't trust peace because she'd never lived in it long enough to believe it was real. What the world called strong, legend called trained, trained to endure, trained to pretend, trained to shut up and ride even if it killed her. So no, she didn't tell Kimani about her past, not because she couldn't, but because she knew he wouldn't survive her truth. And deep down, she wasn't sure she could either. Chapter 5: The Visit. Closure doesn't always feel like an ending. Sometimes it feels like a door left cracked open. Legend swore she wasn't going to see him. She told herself that 3 times on the drive over, twice in the parking lot, and once in the mirror of the bathroom stall. She locked herself in before entering the cafe. But her hands betrayed her. Her heart? That was the real traitor. She wore black jeans, a loose satin top, and just enough gloss to say she didn't care, but not enough to say she didn't try. The cafe was quiet. Low music, dim lighting, 2 baristas behind the counter who didn't care what kind of pain you were hiding behind your latte order. She walked in like she was calm, but her nerves were 1,000 bees inside her rib cage, and then he stood up. Tree looked different. Same sharp jawline, same eyes that saw too much, but he moved slower now. Dangerous in that quiet way men become when they've had too much time to think. Like a lion who's been caged but ain't forgot how to hunt. Legend hesitated for a second, then walked over. "Didn't think you'd show," he said, voice low, rough. "Didn't think you'd ask," she replied, chin high. They sat across from each other. No drinks, no distractions. Just unspoken history between them, thick enough to choke on. Tree leaned back, sizing her up. It's wild being gone that long, thinking about the same person every night. Wondering if she's still the same. If she still feel the same. Legend didn't answer. Just stared at him, fighting the way her chest tightened. "So you with somebody?" Tree asked, like he already knew the answer. Her lips pressed together. "That's complicated." His eyes narrowed slightly. "Still ride like you used to?" Her jaw clenched. "Still survive like I had to." Tree smirked, but it wasn't playful. His eyes weren't laughing. They were searching, digging through her soul for cracks, for lies, for the girl he once owned. Tree could read her like a street sign in his own hood. Fast, clear, and with no hesitation. The way he looked at her, it stripped her bare without touching her. Legend braced herself. She thought he'd press harder, thought he'd lean in, bring up nights that still lived under her skin. Deep down, she thought he'd try to sleep with her. And worse, she wanted him to, just once, to see if it still felt like home. Or like hell. But he didn't. Tree didn't flirt, didn't touch her, didn't even look at her like a man starving. He looked at her like a man remembering, and that hit harder. It left her shaken and unsatisfied. Rejected, but still wanted. "I ain't come to cause no problems," he said softly. "I just needed to see you, had to know if I really lost you, or if you just learned how to live without me." Legend stood, legs unsteady but defiant. Tree rose slow, towering over her but not pressing. The door closed behind him like a book she hadn't finished reading. Her knees felt weak, but she stayed standing, because this time she didn't crumble. This was emotional chaos. But hours later, alone in her car, hands gripping the wheel, his cologne still lingering in her nose, she realized something terrifying. She wasn't sure if she felt closure or craving, because some ghosts don't come to haunt. They come to remind you that you never heal. Chapter 6: Kaimani's Rules. Some prisons are built from compliments and good intentions. Legend had always known how to survive. She could read a man's intentions before he opened his mouth, calculate her next move before he even blinked. But with Kaimani, it wasn't that simple. He wasn't the type to raise his voice or flex his fists. His control came dressed in charm. It came in the form of gentle reminders, subtle ultimatums, a calm voice with heavy expectations. "You know I only want what's best for you, right?" he'd murmur, hands resting lightly on her shoulders. But somehow his version of best always meant smaller, quieter, easier to manage. Kimani didn't want the real legend. He wanted the curated version, the one who didn't challenge his ego or make waves when things didn't feel right. Flashback. It was a Friday night. She had just come back from her suite, hair still slayed, edges crisp, her walk soft but confident. She wore a mocha-toned jumpsuit that hugged her waist just enough to make her feel like her again. Kimani looked up from the couch, eyes trailing her body. "You stepping out like that?" Legend froze. "Like what?" He smirked, shaking his head slow. "You look good, bae. Too good. But you ain't gotta be out here letting everybody else see what's mine." He said it so sweet, so calm. Like it was love, like it was protection. And maybe that's what made her doubt herself. The outfit stayed on, but her pride wore thinner. It started small. He didn't like how she dressed. Too tight, too loud, too visible. Then came the questions about her friends, why she still talked to Tree, why she laughed too hard with Tree. Next, it was her ambitions. He didn't think she needed to open that second business. "You're doing too much, baby. Don't gas yourself out," he said, masking discouragement as concern. But she knew what it was. He wanted her busy, but not too independent. Whole, but never whole enough to leave him. Legend found herself second-guessing everything. Every decision became a negotiation. Every outfit, every text, every move filtered through Kaimani's silent approval process. She told herself she was compromising, being a good woman, holding it down. But deep down, a fire started to build, quietly. One night, while scrolling her old phone, she stumbled on a text thread between her and Tree. It wasn't romantic, it was real, raw, honest. There was one message that hit different. "You were a beast before I touched you. I just reminded you how powerful you already were." Back then, she was freer. And she missed that version of herself. The girl who didn't flinch under a man's gaze, who didn't second guess her truth, who didn't shrink. And just like that, the fog lifted a little. Kimeni wasn't hurting her. He was dimming her. Quietly, consistently. With every condition he wrapped in care, he was folding her into a version she didn't recognize, the kind of manipulation that didn't look like abuse. Legend sat with that truth like a stone in her chest, and for the first time in weeks, she didn't just feel tired, not the kind of angry that burned everything down. She stood, walked to the mirror, and pulled the lipstick Kimeni hated from her bag, a deep, defiant red. As it hit her lips, she caught her own reflection, the version of herself she thought she lost, and she promised that girl she wasn't gone forever. Chapter 7. Between Two Fires. She wasn't torn between men. She was torn between who she used to be and who she was becoming. Legend sat on the edge of her bed, shoulders heavy, chest pressed down like bricks. Two names, two histories. Two versions of herself staring back at her in the mirror. Kaimeni, with his smooth lies, slick as cologne sweet on the tongue, but thick with control. He spoke like forever, but every word came wrapped in conditions. And then there was Tree. Tree was different. His presence wasn't loud, it was steady, unshakable. His return didn't just stir her heart, it cracked the foundation of the woman she thought she'd become. Kimani had grown colder lately. Every conversation felt like a trap, and every touch came with a test. Tree was the opposite. With him, she could breathe, she could cuss, cry, laugh, and still be legend, unfiltered, uncomplicated, and unapologetic. He never clipped her wings. He lit the fire in her chest and dared her to fly. And the truth? She missed it. The version of herself who didn't second guess her truth. Her phone buzzed. A message from Kaimani lit the screen. "Don't forget who's been here. Don't play yourself." Legend stared at the text, didn't reply. Not when her body still remembered how Tree looked at her. Wanted, not owned. Not when his voice still echoed, calm and unbothered. Tree said, "I ain't got time to be one of two. You want me? Move accordingly. I'm too fly for a love triangle." He didn't beg. He didn't compete. He laid it out, clear. He was waiting, but he wouldn't wait forever. And then the thought crept in, sharp as a blade. Do I even want either of them? The question rattled her. Was she breaking herself apart, trying to choose between two men who couldn't even see her fully? Maybe neither of them was her piece. Maybe they were just mirrors of the girl she used to be, not the woman she was fighting to become. Legend stood, arms crossed, eyes on the city through her window. The lights outside blinked alive, the streets buzzing with chaos and movement, but inside her, everything was still. Her silence wasn't indecision anymore. It was exhaustion. She was done justifying loyalty to people who weaponized it, done performing peace while her heart carried a war. But letting go wasn't just about Kimani or Tree. Letting go meant releasing the version of herself that thought this kind of love was the best she could ever get. And that grief, that was the fire she feared more than either man. Believe me, this is only the beginning. If you're enjoying the journey and want to read ahead, Legend is available on Amazon. You can find the link in the description below to grab your copy and follow along as each new episode is released. If you enjoyed today's reading, be sure to subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. And to all my world walkers, thank you for spending your time in Nai's world. Your comments, your support, and your imagination help bring these stories to life. So let me know what you thought of today's episode in the comments below. I'm Nai, one mind, endless worlds. Until next time, world walkers, keep turning pages, keep your imagination alive, and I'll see you in the next episode of Legend.
Started off with nothing, now I'm smashing broad lights. Never